Dresden, Europe, 2002. Europe is being ravaged, and as is the norm during such disasters, everyone is trying to salvage as much as they possibly can, just like everyone does during times of war. Except this isn't war, it's flood season in 2002. The staff of the Dresden Museum are working hurriedly to move all their valuables to higher ground, in case the floods invade their walls as well. Even the basement is being cleared out for the first time in 50 years. This was the setting in which the three sails, or las tres velas, as it's known in its native Spanish, was found. Firstly, I must walk you through the life of this particular painting over the past century. It was painted by Joaquin Sorolla in 1903 and displayed in Berlin, where it was to be displayed publicly for the last time, before it was purchased by a banker by the name of Max Steinhaupt. However, when the Nazis took over, Mr. Steinhaupt's status plummeted due to his Jewish faith and identity, and he lost a lot of his valuable property, including the three sails. However, this was not to the Nazis, but it was moved to Dresden for safekeeping, but even there, it eventually ended up in the hands of the authorities. It was put in the basement of the Dresden Gemäldegalerie, where it was forgotten for the next 50 years, up until its romantic rediscovery in 2002. As romantic as the story is, it is telling of how much art is valued if such an important piece of art is discovered with the fortuitousness with which I find my missing socks. With modern technology, missing works of art should be easier to discover than ever before, especially if they're in places of importance like museums. The art was eventually auctioned off for $4 million odd. Surely the money gained from these auctions should be enough to garner a very thorough worldwide search for more missing art. The monuments men and many after have proven that works of art that are missing can still be recovered if those searching are persistent and diligent enough. Although the painting was eventually auctioned off for $4.5 million, it did not galvanize the world of art the way many would have expected it to. Many more works of art were sold around the 2000s for higher prices. A Picasso went for $100+ million, but neither that did not galvanize the world of art either into looking for lost art. So, what does this mean? Well, according to Felipe V. Lombard, an expert on the works of Joaquin Sorolla, he says that people now need to be more open to obscure art that was considered degenerate by the Nazis in the 1930s and 1940s, and people need to start searching for this art and find it. It won't only have a significant economic influence, but it will also help out museums in their efforts to find more lost art and bring back a lost culture from the last century. The rediscovery of degenerate art also reminds us of the great artists and the great people that were there at the time. Not only was Joaquin Sorolla a great artist, but he was also a great man. He was beloved right here in the US and all around the world, according to Roderick Morris, as he wrote in New York Times in 2012. Joaquin Sorolla was a great artist and a great man. He was inspired to paint this three sails by his native city of Valencia on the coast of Spain. He loved Valencia and he used this painting to pay homage to his hometown and the women of his town as well. Another significant factor that must not be forgotten is the fact that the Nazis almost seemed to destroy the reputations of these great artists. William Wilson wrote in an article for the Los Angeles Times in 1989 that Joaquin Sorolla was almost a conservative artist and almost rendered him redundant as an artist, when in reality it was much more than that, and he hadn't seen the great works, some of Joaquin's greatest works like The Three Sails, and he was not in a position to speak. So to save the reputations of some of the greatest artists of the so-called degenerate era, we must continue our exploration for this lost art and look all over the world and try to find it.